What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 111 of the Access to Combat podcast. I'm one half of your host, Hugo the Boss. Hugo got next, joined by my co-host.
It's your boy Ray Boogie Kahuna. On today's episode, we're going to be breaking down UFC 319, Du Plessis versus Chimaev. On the PFL end, they're going to continue their World Tournament Finals. And on the boxing end, we got a decent Queensberry card. But before we get into any of that, my brother, please tell them what the deal is.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know.
First fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have Edson Barboza going one-on-one with Drakkar Klose. Barboza is 24-12 overall, fighting out of Jupiter, Florida, but repping Brazil, 39 years old. Klose, 15-3-1 overall, fighting out of Glendale, Arizona, 37 years old. Decent way to kick off the card, if currently constituted, if everything holds up. I'm going to be picking Barboza here for the win. You know, cards on the table. Barboza's just a dog. This guy, close to 40, aging like wine, Brazilian wine, whatever that tastes like. You already know the deal on Edson Barboza. Solid striking, solid jab, leg kicks for days, goes to all levels. Decent takedown defense. On the Klose side, I think Klose is not terrible. I think Klose does have a path here, but I do worry about Klose's cardio fading towards the end of the fight. If he pushes the wrestling, I think he could lock up 2 rounds. He might not be able to take Barboza down, but I think cage pushing is going to be really effective for him. I think he's going to have the physicality edge here, and I think that's going to help him with his grappling in general. But I see Barboza head kick for some reason. I think it just screams decision or KO on both ends. Barboza's not really going to push the jiu-jitsu, but he's got it. He'll use it to get up, and he'll use it to get out of situations. Yeah, give me Edson Barboza here for the win. I'm leaning decision, but I don't hate the KO look as well. If submission is extremely wide, possibly playable, but Barboza's the side for me.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think the physicality is going to be the most interesting part of this contest, considering Edson Barboza has moved back up to 155. His last couple of fights were at 145. His last fight at 55 being against Paul Felder, which is controversial because you could argue he won the fight, to be honest. With that said, I feel like Barboza's got him covered everywhere. He's got better takedown defense. He's the better striker. He's going to be faster there. He's the better leg kicker. I have a hard time believing that Drakkar is going to be able to hold him down for multiple minutes at a time. I think Barboza gets it done via knockout, to be honest with you, because I don't trust Drakkar's chin at this point in time. He just caught a flying knee from Joel Alvarez's last fight, and I wonder if 9 months is enough to sit out before you take your next contest after getting knocked out as viciously as he did his last contest. Give me Edson Barboza by knockout here. Don't know how I'm going to play it, but that's how I'm leaning.
Next fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have King Green, the artist formerly known as Bobby, going one-on-one with Diego Ferreira.
Damn it, Bobby.
Dang it, Bobby. Green, 32-17-1 overall, fighting out of Inland Empire, California, 38 years old. Ferreira, 19-6 overall, fighting out of McAllen, Texas, but repping Brazil, 40 years old. I see this fight playing out one of 2 ways. On one end, King Green, Bobby Green, if he manages the distance here, he's the way better striker. He's got to go 15 minutes without getting touched. I think he can style on him. On the other end, we have Diego, who is a dog, and in his last couple fights, definitely has looked a little better than Bobby Green has. I'm going to call him Bobby. I apologize, but, you know, I don't want to dead name the guy, but he's still Bobby to me, damn it. It's just hard coming around and calling the guy King. I'm sorry. Ferreira just feels like the better fighter here, and it's a dog shit breakdown, but I'm picking Diego here. I think he's gonna get this one done. I feel like can go to decision, but I think knockout is kind of sneaky because Bobby Green's chin is a bit faded. Give me Ferreira here for the win. I guess I'll put the nuts on the table and say by knockout.
Yeah, I'm there too. And if you just look at Diego's resume, he's only lost to the best of the division. Dustin Poirier, Beneil Dariush twice, who I think is a fraud, by the way, but that's a different story for a different day. Gregor Gillespie, who's a monster wrestler. Gamrot, monster wrestler. Grant Dawson, monster wrestler. So
that's the trend there.
And there are top 10 fighters, to be frank with you, right?
Is Bobby Green a monster wrestler?
No. And that's and that's the thing. The only guys that are beating this guy are elite fighters or elite wrestler grapplers. Bobby's neither of them, and Bobby is shot. So, you know, I know Diego's 40. I get it, but I'm here with you. I think Diego's going to find his chin and put the lights out. Give me Diego Ferreira here by knockout.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have GM3, Gerald Meerschaert going one-on-one with Husar Michał Oleksiejczuk. GM3 is 37-19 overall, fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 37 years old. Lord Michael is 20-9 overall, fighting out of Brazil, but repping Poland, 30 years old. This is going to be one of these fights where obviously Oleksiejczuk's got the striking advantage. He's going to walk forward. The guy's like a bull in a china shop, reckless but deadly. Used to fight at light heavyweight. He's got the power. He could 100% chin the shit out of GM3. But this fight just reeks of him clapping GM3's cheeks till he hits the ground, jumps into his guard, and then just for some reason he just gets submitted, because even though he's training out of Brazil, GM3 is just a sneaky son of a bitch, man. Oleksiejczuk should win. I'm going to be picking Oleksiejczuk, but beware of Meerschaert. Oleksiejczuk's the pick. GM3 is probably the bet. Fight doesn't go, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. They got Gerald Meerschaert sitting at a plus 200 on some of these books. I think it's a dog or pass spot. And it's the obvious grappler versus striker match, so I'm going to lean the grappler here just on that premise alone. I think Michał Oleksiejczuk is a little bit of a fraud, to be frank. He beat Dumas. He made us look silly. We actually tried to fade Dumas against him respectfully, and Dumas made us look like dumbasses. So
Dumas's.
Yeah. So for me, it's just a situation where it's like Kevin Holland subbed this guy from his back with ease, to be frank. Gerald Meerschaert jiu-jitsu is just way better, to be frank, than Kevin Holland's at this stage in the game, even as an older gentleman in this game. But I'm with Gerald Meerschaert for a second or third round sub here. I think he gets it done. I think second, third round is what I'm going to be looking at, especially for value since he's the underdog. Give me Gerald Meerschaert here as the lean. Give me Gerald Meerschaert by second, third round submission.
Next fight on the card at women's strawweight, we have Jéssica Andrade going one-on-one with Lupita Godinez. Andrade is 26-14, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 30 years old. Godinez is 13-5 overall, fighting out of Mexico, repping Mexico, 31 years old. An interesting fight at strawweight for the women here. I'm going to be leaning the veteran. I'm going to be leaning Jéssica Andrade for the win here. And I know Lupita's got the clear path. If she just, gets to the grappling here, and she should be able to, take advantage of an aging Andrade and, possibly get a win. But the problem on the Lupi side for me here is she doesn't have power in the hands at all. The striking's solid, but what's going to stop Andrade from just walking her down? Andrade, even though she's getting a little older, she has been losing, but it's only been to the elite of this division. Andrade is still a bad bitch, man. Respectfully. That's a bad woman. I just see her winning the minutes in the striking. Lupi, she's good, but the lapses in IQ, the fact that she doesn't have any power, and her control is not that great. Everything just points to just picking Andrade here for the win. Give me Andrade by decision, but I wouldn't necessarily rule out a knockout here. I don't know. This one just screams, just pick Andrade here. Lupi's got to prove it to me for multitude of reasons. This is a prove it fight.
Yeah, I'm with you here on the dog shot here on Jéssica Andrade. I feel like you gotta hope Lupi's gonna wrestle this girl. And the problem is you're hoping that Lupi's gonna wrestle her. Like Lupi's been pressured before, didn't shoot. Decided to just stand and bang and strike. Thing is, you get into one wrong exchange with Jéssica Andrade and she will put your lights out. For me, I agree with you on the dog spot. She's sitting at a plus 150, almost 170 on some books, which is kind of crazy. I think there's a good chance that Jéssica can knock her out. I really believe that. Or put enough damage on her, or swell an eye shut, because Lupita doesn't wear damage particularly well either, by the way. So you gotta hope she's gonna wrestle. And I've never been certain on Lupita's fight IQ. It's just been bad historically. So give me Jéssica Andrade. She has the dog play.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have Nursulton Ruziboev going one-on-one with the Butcher, Bryan Battle. Ruziboev is 36-9-2 overall, fighting out of Philly but repping Uzbekistan, 31 years old. The Butcher, Bryan Battle, is 12-2 overall, fighting out of Charlotte, North Carolina, 30 years old. An interesting fight in my opinion here. A bit of a 50-50. Bryan Battle, I think, is the better striker, but he is going to be the smaller guy in there. Ruziboev, an opportunistic grappler, but doesn't really push it as often as you would like. I think he does have a clear path here if he does push the grappling. Do I trust it? That's another story. I'm torn. I'll just keep it a buck. I don't know which way I want to lean on this one. Probably from a betting perspective, dog or pass. I'll go Bryan Battle. I think the move up a weight class is going to help the chin. He hates cutting the weight regardless. He's going to be the faster guy in there. Give me Bryan Battle here for the win.
Yeah, I'm with you ever so slightly on the Bryan Battle side here. He's the favorite. No dog or pass here, but I don't hate people who are looking at the Ruziboev line and saying, interesting, especially Bryan moving a weight class back up. But I'm going to be honest with you. I just trust Bryan to push against the cage push as much as he can, as well as wrestle when he needs to stay out of trouble and win minutes with the clinch and the elbows and the knees that he's very good at actually committing to when he wants to. The thing is, how's he going to look on the scale? How's he going to look next to this guy? Is the physicality going to be too much for him moving back up to 85, considering he's conditioned his body to get down to 70? A lot of questions in this fight. A fight that I probably want to stay away from and just enjoy. Give me Bryan Battle, but man, not with a high degree of confidence like my brother.
Next fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have the great ape Alexander Hernandez going one-on-one with Chase the Dream, Chase Hooper. Hernandez is 16-8 overall, fighting out of San Antonio, Texas, 32 years old. Hooper is 16-3-1 overall, fighting out of Washington, 25 years old. I think low-key Alexander Hernandez, if this fight stays standing, could probably style on Hooper hard.
100%.
Hard body karate. He's actually the better striker. I don't want to say by a mile, but by a significant amount. I'm still going to be leaning Hooper here for the win, and it's only because the jiu-jitsu is just that damn good.
Very good.
Hernandez, tough to wrestle, probably tougher to submit, but Hooper is the side for me. I think Hooper's going to be able to get to his back if he doesn't get completely rocked, because I don't really trust the chin too much, but I think he gets to the back. I think he subs him. Rear naked choke. Hooper for the win. Don't know how I'm going to play it from a betting perspective, but that's the official lean on my side, at least.
Yeah, I'm there too. This is Hernandez's third fight back at lightweight. He's looked pretty good at this weight class, but he's fought, Kurt Hurlebug, et cetera, guys that are kind of past their prime. This is a young, hungry lion he's fighting that's going to have a significant size and reach advantage on him, and a guy that I think is improving his wrestling in a lot of facets, as well as his striking to set up his wrestling. So for me, this is an easy play. I think this is Chase Hooper. Can't get behind the -310 line here, but I would be looking at props. I think Hernandez can survive one round. I'll give him that. I think second, third round is going to be super interesting where Hernandez historically gasses. I'm assuming he's going to get the sub here. Give me Chase Hooper by second, third round sub in this contest.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have Hands of Steel, Geoff Neal going one-on-one with the Nightmare, Carlos Prates. Neal is 16-6 overall, fighting out of Dallas, Texas, 34 years old. Prates is 21-7 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 31 years old.
Great fight.
This is a banger.
People gonna bleed, it's gonna get cut open, and somebody might die.
I'm gonna be leaning Geoff Neal, and it's only because I think Geoff Neal is just the better fighter. Listen, not to do MMA math, they both have Ian Gary as a common opponent. Ian Gary kind of walked down Carlos Prates for 3 rounds before, obviously, I think Carlos won the last 2 rounds, especially the last round.
Yeah, he almost stopped him.
Neal on the other side, was that a 5-round fight?
3 round, and you could argue Geoff won that fight.
You
could totally argue that.
That fight went to split decision. Geoff had a really good game plan going in. He kind of neutralized a lot of Gary shit, pushed him against the cage. I think he would have won if he just would have did a little more against the cage, but
I thought he won.
It was a good fight. Geoff Neal, the better boxer. Now Geoff Neal, on to his detriment, does struggle historically against guys who are bigger than him. He has lost to most of the guys who have a size and reach advantage against him. But Carlos Prates strikes me as a little different for a couple reasons. 1, a bit of a slow starter. 2, I think out of most of the big guys that Neal has fought, I think Prates probably has the most dog shit striking defense. Prates can get hit. It's just one of those fights where I think Geoff Neal's going to be winning, and I'm going to be picking Geoff Neal as the lean for sure. But I'm fully prepared for Neal winning until he just gets fucking clipped, because Prates just has this thing about all his fights where it's close until it's not. Prates does have atomic nuclear power, the death touch in both his hands. This fight might not go the distance. I'm going to say KO. Fight ends in KO. I'm picking Neal. That's the breakdown.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm with you here. And I'm assuming Geoff Neal might be the underdog in this fight just because of the hype behind Carlos Prates and what Vegas and the UFC probably think about him. He has the better skills, man. He's the better boxer. They're both low volume in the first round. So that first round's going to be super interesting. But that second and third round, Geoff has only been knocked out by Kevin Holland. And that was years ago. That was pre-UFC. So for me, it's like, I'm looking at this fight like if you're hoping for Carlos Prates to land a home run shot in this guy who's defensively responsible and knows how to move his feet, good luck. I'm going to trust the guy that I think can land the better shots down the pipe, has good takedown defense. This is a dog or pass spot for me. That's how close this fight's probably going to be. I think split decisions will look on this fight. Prates pretty durable. Geoff Neal, historically durable. Geoff Neal historically makes good defensive decisions. He's almost too defensive, which is his problem in fights. So I thought he beat Ian Gary too, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So give me Geoff Neal here. I'm assuming he's going to be the dog. Dog or pass is the way to look at this. Give me Geoff Neal for the lead.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have Jared Cannonier, Killer Gorilla, going one-on-one with MVP Michael Venom Page. Cannonier is 18-8 overall. Fighting out of Glendale, Arizona, 41 years old. MVP is 23-3 overall. Fighting out of London, repping United Kingdom, 38 years old. Now we got two guys here, definitely a little over the hill. You know, definitely not in their primes, but still very good fighters. In a fight that I actually don't think is going to go the distance. I'm going to be surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, I'm going to be leaning MVP here. I just think his style is very difficult to deal with on all levels. I think he's going to be able to actually possibly get a finish here because Cannonier in his last couple fights has not looked too good when it comes to the chin durability. And MVP, say what you want about him, he'll drag out a fight, but he's always looking for his shots. I think he has power. To give credit to Cannonier here, I think if Cannonier gets on the inside, which he's completely capable of here, and pushes Michael Venom Page against the cage, for instance, if he gets on the inside, I think one touch from Cannonier, I think MVP might explode. Because he's definitely got the power edge here. And he doesn't even have to hit him with a punch. I think if he hits him with an elbow, Cannonier is still very deadly. Very powerful, man. KO either way. Fight shouldn't go the distance. MVP is going to be the lean. I say medium confidence.
Yeah, I'm there too. And I'm there too because I can't trust Jared to push the wrestling here. He has literally only pushed the wrestling. I was looking up the stats while you were speaking. Against Gregory Rodriguez, Nasruddin Imavov, and Martin Vettori. Martin Vettori is probably the only time he really went for takedowns because he was just beating on him so bad. He would just double leg him because the dude wouldn't go down because Vettori's chin is like historically good.
Man, he beat 7 shades of dog shit out of
that was bad.
Vettori. Yeah.
Badass whipping. That changed, you could argue that changed Vettori's career trajectory.
Yeah.
100%.
It was crazy.
Against Braulio, he didn't shoot, but against Imavov and Rodriguez, he shot when he got hurt. So he's probably going to shoot at MVP after he gets hurt, but MVP's distance management is so good and he's so fast. He's going to be way faster in there. There's a guy in Canada who came down from heavyweight, fought at light heavyweight, now he's at middleweight, going against a guy who's fought at welterweight and is moving up, but is a humongous welterweight, so he's not going to be completely outsized. He's the better striker. I think he has really good takedown defense for the most part. Underrated takedown defense. This is probably going to be the strongest guy he's fought, though, which is why this fight is super interesting. To my brother's point, I think he cracks as well, too. Jared Cannonier, he does. But good luck hitting a guy that's a master of rolling with punches and firing back at the right time with precision and deadly venom. Give me MVP to win this fight. I'll go by knockout, but not with a high degree of confidence. I'll say medium like my brother, but MVP is definitely the lead.
Next fight on the card at men's flyweight, we have Tim Elliott going one-on-one with Kai Asakura. Elliott is 20-13-1 overall. Fighting out of Lee Summit, Missouri, 38 years old. Asakura is 21-5 overall. Fighting out of Japan, repping Japan, 31 years old. This is going to be, I think, a pretty entertaining fight, but another fight that I just don't think is going to go the distance. I'm going to be leaning Kai Asakura. Now, it sounds a little crazy because I think the way to beat Kai Asakura is to wrestle him, to grapple him. But rewatching the Pantoja fight kind of gave me a little pause because he actually had some decent success holding Pantoja's attacks off, holding Pantoja's grappling off, at least for as long as he can until, Pantoja just pushed him against the cage, worked his way to his back, and then eventually choked him out. Now, is Tim Elliott capable of that? 100%. Is Tim Elliott's wrestling and grappling very solid? It is. But Kai Asakura, I think the speed is going to be a problem for
size.
Tim. The size 100% is going to be a problem. The physicality. I think Kai Asakura gets a knockout here. Give me Kai by knockout. I'm going to say second round.
Yeah, I'm with you here. And I think it could be a first round knockout as well. I would not be surprised at all if that happened. But I think the speed, the size, Tim Elliott's 38 years old at flyweight. His last 2 wins were against Alta Moreno and Sumadarji. These boys are not Asakura, in my opinion. At least not at this point in their careers. Asakura is going to be by far the better striker. I expect him to be able to stuff the takedowns, at least temporarily, like he did against Pantoja, who's a much better fighter at this point in his career relative to Tim Elliott, and he's going to knock Tim out within the first 2 rounds. Give me Asakura by knockout here.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, and is currently constituted the co-main event of the evening. We have Lerone the Miracle Murphy going 1-on-1 with Aaron Pico, the debuting, finally, Aaron Pico. Murphy 16-0-1, so technically perfect. Fighting out of England, repping England, 34 years old. Pico 13-4 overall, fighting out of San Jose, California, 28 years old. Banger of a fight, hell of a co-main. A crazy fight for Pico to debut. They originally had him lined up against Evloev. Evloev pulled out. That would have been interesting. This one's even more interesting in my opinion. Lerone, bad motherfucker. I'll put it on the table.
We like Lerone on this podcast.
Decent striking, solid grappling. He's got the experience edge in my opinion. He's got obviously the UFC experience edge. He's got the better resume on paper technically here. He is older, but he's durable. He can push a pace here that can give Pico some trouble. But at the same time, Pico, young, hungry, better finishing instincts in my opinion. The resume might be lacking, but you gotta give credit to where credit's due. The guys he's been fighting, he's been packing up for the most part, right? I originally was on the Lerone Murphy side until I did Pico tape. And thank you, brother, for convincing me to do more Pico tape. I completely forgot how aggressive Pico pushes wrestling. Lerone Murphy's takedown defense, good, not great.
52%, ladies and gentlemen.
Pico's got a path here. Pico is probably in most danger in this fight if he just gets into some kind of crazy wild exchange. I don't trust the chin as much. Pico's striking's aggressive. He's been more patient. He's young. He's going to be fast. The grappling.
Better body puncher as well.
Works all levels.
By far.
I'll take the dog shot here.
If it's a dog, to be frank. There's no lines on this fight, which is unfortunate.
I do worry. The back of my mind, I'll keep it a buck. The shoulder popping out, it does worry me a bit because of how aggressive he pushes the wrestling. And Lerone Murphy is a physical man who is definitely going to give him resistance. But I don't mind taking the shot on these guys that come out of PFL/Bellator. He's more of a Bellator product than anything else. Surprised that PFL even let him go. Give me Pico here. I think he gets this one done probably via decision, but I wouldn't rule out a sneaky knockout. That's the breakdown for me, at least.
Yeah, for me, I'm a little bit more confident on the Pico side here. And the reason being is because you got to think about how UFC matchmaking was matchmaking this dude. They were putting him against the best wrestler in the division. The reason they were putting him against the best wrestler in the division is because they know Pico's wrestling so good that he could mitigate a lot of Evolev's work, to be frank with you. And Pico is that talented enough to deal with Evloev. There's a guy in Lerone Murphy with 52% takedown defense. This is Aaron Pico, who is probably one of Bellator's biggest and most highly touted prospects. And it's because not only is he an aggressive wrestler, he is a vicious body puncher. Lerone's going to have to fight on his bike in this whole fight. I think he's going to lose the minutes against the cage. I think he's going to lose the wrestling exchanges here. I think Pico is a sneaky sub away too from this as well. I think the ITD is very live in this fight because Pico is a finisher. The only thing that's questionable about Pico is his chin. But to his credit here, Lerone Murphy's last finish was 4 years ago, and it was to Makwan Amirkhani, who he stopped with a knee to the body. Didn't really even stop him with the hands because, no disrespect to Lerone, doesn't have a lot of pop on his shots. That's just what it is. Before that, Ricardo Ramos, who he finished in 2020. I'm going to lean Aaron Pico here to get this done by either sub or decision because I just think that Lerone's going to have a hard time keeping him off of him. I think people are going to get a rude awakening to how good Pico is, how good his wrestling is. This is a guy who is TJ Dillashaw's main sparring partner, a guy who could hang with him on a lot of the exchanges, according to TJ. TJ really is high on him. And this is a guy who has good control grappling. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, the UFC does not like Evloev, but they could not find anyone to beat Evloev. They put Aljamain against him. Aljo barely lost the fight. This is a guy in Pico who is a more explosive version of Aljo. and, in my opinion, close to a similar control grappler outside of the back takes. Give me Pico here by decision or sub here.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight and is currently constituted the main event of the evening for the UFC middleweight title. We have Still Knox, Dricus Du Plessis going one-on-one with Boers, Khamzat Chimaev. Du Plessis is 23-2 overall. Fighting out of South Africa, repping South Africa, 31 years old. Chimaev, perfect, 14-0. Fighting out of the UAE, repping the UAE, 31 years old. Surprised that they got Chimaev to fly out. This pay-per-view is taking place in Chicago. So I guess that's a good thing for him. I think Khamzat legit has a shot to win this fight in the first 2 rounds, 100%. I think he's by far the better grappler, the more deadly grappler, the more deadly submission artist. What I don't trust is Chimaev's gas. And if you like the Chimaev side, you either get on him early. If you like the Dricus side, I think you wait. This feels like a bit of a live bet entry if you want a better line on Dricus. I'm going to be picking Dricus here because I think Dricus, does survive the early onslaught from Chimaev. And I think as this fight does progress, the later it goes, Dricus is going to be able to just roll downhill on him. It's going to be like a bit of a snowball effect where you'll see the tide starting to turn probably towards the end of the second round, beginning of the third. It's a 5-round fight. I do see a finish here. I don't think this fight goes the distance. Give me Dricus here for the win. I think he wins this one rounds 3-4, maybe even 5. Who knows if it goes that far. But from a betting perspective, Chimaev early, Dricus late. Don't count Chimaev out. He is extremely legit. Very dangerous early.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think you couldn't have said it any better, to be frank with you. I think Chimaev is as dangerous as it gets in the first 1 or 2 rounds. He is going to take Dricus down here. So you have to be comfortable if you're a Dricus better, and he is the underdog in this fight, by the way, accepting that he's going to probably lose the first round or 2. I think Dricus as a live bet is amazing for this fight, to be frank, considering he's already at dog money in this fight. Chimaev is going to get certain positions on him, but Chimaev, historically, bad gas tank, man. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think his style's ever going to allow him to get away from that. He fights too aggressively. Unless he learns how to reel it back or he gets humbled, which he could in this contest, I don't think he's ever going to scale it back until someone shows him that, yeah, bro, I might be more manly than you and you're not going to bully me around and use the physicality to get me to the floor. Dricus, to his credit, has shut me up a lot, where earlier in his career and midway into his career, I thought he was a low IQ fighter. This guy is not dumb. I don't see how, like, he's looking at this fight and not accepting that he's probably going to get taken down and lose position. I think he's anticipating that. I think he's getting ready for a 5-round war. He has the championship experience here. He has been 5 rounds before. He knows how to pace himself. This is going to be the most physical guy Chimaev has fought, in my opinion. He struggled at times to hold Gilbert Burns down at certain points and to actually take him down at certain points. This is a guy in Dricus, man. I think people are fucking just sleeping on this guy. And this guy hits as hard, but I'm curious as to see whose chin's going to hold up over the course of this fight, especially when they're tired. My guess is going to be Dricus because Dricus has been in the deep waters before. So give me Dricus Du Plessis as the dog play here, man, which is fucking crazy. But I don't think I'm going to bet it until the fight starts. I think this is a good live bet spot. He could go up to as high as plus 300. He's sitting at a plus 170 right now. I think you jump in maybe end of the first round, depending on how Khamzat looks. And even midway into the first, if you see the tide beginning to swing, because by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Dricus can fucking grapple. With that said, give me Dricus Du Plessis here as the dog play here.
Moving right along to the PFL, where they continue their World Tournament Finals. We're going to be kicking it off with the prelim main event at women's flyweight. We have Juliana Velasquez going one-on-one with Ekaterina Shakalova. Velasquez is 13-4 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 38 years old. Shakalova is 9-3 overall, fighting out of the Ukraine, repping the Ukraine, 27 years old. I mean, this really just boils down to, is Velasquez washed? We know she can't stop takedowns, which is surprising. You know, you're fighting out of Brazil. You got to have some kind of jiu-jitsu. But man, it just hasn't looked the same since the transition from Bellator to PFL. Carmouche walked her every which way you can. That being said, it is Carmouche. She's giving Shakalova here the run back, or at least Shakalova is giving her the run back, right? Shakalova's tiny, but she's Ukrainian, so +5 durability. A little undersized, but she's like a fire hydrant, man. A bit of a pit bull, and she's got decent grappling.
Actually fought at a higher weight class, ladies and gentlemen.
And I just don't see this looking any different. I am team Velasquez washed. Give me Shakalova here for the win. Maybe she doesn't get the sub as easily as she did because it was like a first round sub finish, right?
Also took the fight on short notice.
Yeah, I mean, with a training camp, Shakalova knows what she needs to do. Just take her down and, you know, just find your way. Find your way to the neck again. Shakalova by sub. I say by second round this time.
Yeah, I'm with you on the lean, but I tell you what, if that line's disrespectful enough on Velasquez, I'm willing to play it. I think she's washed as well, but I'm not a big believer in Shakalova. I think Shakalova is limited. Her striking's herky-jerky. It's not very good. Her grappling is, like it's not great, but she's just a fire hydrant. So she's so powerful, she's able to just move into her takedowns. Plus, the most telling problem with her, in my opinion, which is why I think Velasquez might be somewhat live in this fight, is that she's a gas bag. She gasses in all her fights, to be frank. And you see it in her last contest with Jenna Bishop. You see it in her previous fights, even with full training camps. I'm not sure if it's the weight cut, but to be frank with you, I just think if the line is like a plus 500, plus 600 on Velasquez, I wouldn't mind sprinkling a little bit because I don't think the fight's going to be that much relative to the line. Velasquez is still Juliana Velasquez. I do think she's washed, but I'm not a big believer in Shakalova, even though she should win this fight by second round sub. Give me Shakalova for the lean, but we'll see how we play it close to the fight night.
Next fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have Mads Burnell going one-on-one with Robert Contact Whatley. Burnell, 20-7 overall, fighting out of Denmark, rep in Denmark, 31 years old. Whatley is 15-3 overall, fighting out of Charlotte Hall, Maryland, 35 years old. This is a fight where I'm just going to be leaning Burnell straight out the gate. Nothing against Whatley. I think he's a solid fighter. I think he's got very good grappling. I think the boxing is decent. He's got some power. He's got a little bit of pop, but I don't know if he's going to be able to fare well with pressure. And Burnell brings pressure. Burnell also's got the better resume, the better fight experience, in my opinion. Last time Whatley was in the PFL was in 2018. 2 fights in a row, got cut, ended up going back to CFFC and really fighting people who I don't think were on his level. Give me Burnell's here for the win, and I'm gonna probably say decision because, you know, Burnell's not really the ultimate finisher.
Yeah, I'm there too. I think Mads Burnell is going to be too durable for this guy to keep off of him, and I think Whatley's going to have a hard time taking him down as well. Even if he does take him down, it's going to be a situation where Burnell can grapple. Like, he's pretty good with his grappling. So for me, I'm with you. I think Whatley's fought nobodies. I think Burnell, more durable, going to be the pressure fighter, probably the better boxer in this contest. And Whatley, he's got to hope to get him to the floor and control him. But good luck controlling Mads Burnell on the floor. Fights a lot like Nate and Nick Diaz, to be frank with you. So I'm with you on Mads Burnell. Not the biggest finisher as well. Give me Mads Burnell by decision.
Next fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have Marceli Alves going one-on-one with Justin Wenzel. Alves is 14-4 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 26 years old. Wenzel is 12-2 overall, fighting out of Colorado, 33 years old. Interesting matchup here. This is the first of the 3 tournament finals, so this one is going to be a 5-rounder if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to be leaning Wenzel here. Wenzel just has way too much body. Pause.
Yeah.
He's going to have a significant size and reach advantage. He's going to have a grappling advantage. And I think he's just going to be able to push the pace and neutralize a lot of what Alves does. That being said, I think on the Alves side, he's a very good striker. I think he's probably the better striker. Definitely the more powerful striker. And for a guy who stands flat-footed, does have that get off me takedown defense. Like, he doesn't even fuck around. He's like, you touch him, he's like, get the fuck off me. He just pushes people to the side. He is going to be undersized here. But like I said, definitely has the power edge. I don't really hate him as a play depending on the line. But Wenzel just feels like he's going to take the safe route here, neutralize whatever he can. I think he is going to be able to get his wrestling going. As good as Alves did look against like Higo and Hatley. Give me Wenzel here for the win. I'd say medium confidence, and don't know how I'm going to tackle this one from a betting perspective, to be honest. It just depends on the lines.
Yeah, they got Wenzel listed as a dog here, and I think this is a pure dog or pass spot because I think that's how close this fight's going to be. I think split majority is a way to look at this fight as well. But if you're asking me, I'm with you. I've been so down on this guy Wenzel, and he has completely shut me up as this tournament has gone on. I think he's going to have too much body for Alves, especially if he gets him against the cage and cage pushes. Yeah, pause, 100%. But I'm with you. I don't like his style too much. I think Alves is the much more complete fighter, but I do think that size is going to matter in this fight, as Scott Steiner would say. And I think Wenzel's going to be able to corner him, put him against the cage, and just drown him, rinse, repeat. He's very good at reshooting when he loses position, very good at using his size, very good at going to the single, switching to double, aka chain wrestling. I think it's going to be a lot for Alves to deal with. And you kind of seen it a couple of weeks ago with Jesus Pinedo and his opponent, who we didn't like either. But when you have this close of a fight, you got to lean the wrestler grappler. And I'm going to lean the wrestler grappler and the guy I know that's going to push it much harder and at a much harder pace in this fight. So give me Wenzel, not with the highest degree of confidence, but he is a dog, and I think it does warrant a look.
Next fight on the card, and is currently constituted the co-main event of the evening. At women's flyweight, we have Liz Carmouche, Gorilla, going one-on-one with Jenna Bishop. Carmouche is 24-8 overall, fighting out of San Diego, California, 41 years old. Jenna Bishop is 9-2 overall, also fighting out of San Diego, California, 39 years old.
Let her cook.
Let her cook. We got two very old women here. I know it's a little rude to say old and call a woman old, but these women are both either 40 or pushing 40. And for MMA, that's old, man. I just got to keep it a book.
Viejitas.
Viejitas. Abuelas here. I'm going to be leaning Carmouche. And it just boils down to physicality and experience. She's got the better resume. She's fought the who's who. She hasn't lost to anybody like, of dog shit caliber and possibly a long time. Not that Jenna Bishop's dog shit. Jenna Bishop is actually decent. I think she might even have the striking advantage in this fight. To be honest, I think she wants to keep it on the feet if I'm Jenna, because Carmouche just does this thing with her fucking chin where she
pokes it up.
She keeps it up, But if it gets to the grappling, I think Carmouche's wrestling is more than enough to kind of hold down Bishop. Bishop's jiu-jitsu is very good. I just don't think it's going to be enough here. I mean, she has to throw something at Liz that she hasn't seen, and Liz has seen a lot of shit. So give me Carmouche here for the win. I'd say decision, but I wouldn't rule out a late finish. Again, this is 5 rounds we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the late finish props, particularly on the Carmouche side, is something I'm going to look into. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think Liz got it covered everywhere. I think Liz defensively is not the best striking, but I think offensively she hits harder, even though Jenna has made significant improvements to her striking, particularly over this tournament. I think her wrestling's going to mitigate a lot of shit. I think Liz is going to be able to control her. I think Liz is going to be able to land damage when she wants to. Jenna Bishop is low-key got to meme sub her or just mean catch her on the chin, which Jenna, I haven't seen real power from her either, though. So she has no knockout wins.
Yeah.
So you got to hope she's going to sub her, right? So for me, this is Liz's fight to lose. I think Liz controls. I think Liz probably cruises to a decision here, but a late round stoppage for Liz wouldn't surprise me either. Give me Liz Carmouche to win this fight. I'll say by 3rd, 4th, 5th round stoppage or decision.
Next fight on the card, and is currently constituted the main event of the evening. At men's lightweight, we have Ghazi Rabdamanov going one-on-one with the Axeman, Alfie Davis. Ghazi is 26-4-2 overall, fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 32 years old. Davis is 19-5-1 overall, fighting out of England, repping England, 33 years old. Listen, credit to Alfie Davis. I think when it comes to the striking, he probably has more tools in the toolbox than Ghazi. And his grappling defense has improved, but I think this is Ghazi's fight here. Rabdamanov, the striking, more meat and potatoes on his end, but very effective. He hits hard. And of course, clear grappling edge, in my opinion. I think he's going to be able to get Davis down, frustrate him, beat him up. Give me Ghazi here. I'd say by KO, maybe ITD.
Sub for sure.
I'm a little 50-50 on the sub or KO finish. So give me Ghazi here by ITD, say by 3rd round.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think Ghazi's the more complete fighter. I think the wrestling edge is going to be super evident, as well as the grappling edge. Alfie Davis, whenever he's on his back, looks like a wet paper blanket on the floor that can't do anything and is easy to cut through. I think this is going to be tough sledding if his back touches the mat. But at Ghazi at -600, and Alfie Davis at +390, can't get behind that shit. Because Alfie is capable of landing a big shot in this guy and putting his lights out. I don't see it. I think Ghazi by sub is a good look here, but I think the grappling edge is so vastly, it's not even the same stratosphere, to be frank with you. But if you're asking me, I just think +390 on Alfie Davis is crazy, particularly since he's going to be the bigger guy in there. And if he gets against the cage, taking down a bigger man is not particularly easy. But I trust Ghazi's chain wrestling here to get him down and for him to do whatever he wants. Give me Ghazi ITD here. I'm going to say sub in particular.
And that does it for our combat coverage, at least in the MMA world. We're going to move right along to the sweet science, and we have a Queensberry card headlined by a couple of heavyweights, but I don't think it's the real main event. But we'll be kicking it off with a fight a little lower on the card. We got Raymond Ford, the Savage, going one-on-one with Abraham Nova. Ford, 17-1-1 overall. Fighting out of New Jersey, 26 years old. Nova, 24-3-1 overall. Fighting out of Albany, New York, but repping Puerto Rico, 31 years old.
Yeah, I hate this fight for Abraham Nova, my fellow Puerto Rican. He's taking this fight on short notice. This is Ray Ford we're talking about. Ray Ford, I'm very high on him. I think this podcast is very high on him. I think this is going to be a boxing masterclass, to be frank with you, ladies and gentlemen. I think Abraham Nova punches over his feet too much. He has been knocked out before by Robesi Ramirez, much bigger puncher than Raymond Ford. But I feel like Raymond is going to be able to find the shots when he wants to. Abraham's going to give him the fight that he wants because Ray's very good off his back foot. Ray, good counter puncher, good chin, good with rolling with punches, was able to weather Nick Ball for large portions of their fight. You could argue he won the fight, to be frank with you. I think it's a tough fight for Nova. I think Nova's going to have a hard time finding him. Give me Ray Ford by decision here because he's not the biggest puncher, but I would not rule out a late round stoppage here just because of the volume and the devastation from the counter punches that Abraham Nova's going to walk into. But gun to the head, give me Ray Ford here by decision. That's the lead.
Next fight on the card at men's heavyweight, we have Filip Hrgović going one-on-one with David Adelaya. Hrgović is 18-1 overall. Fighting out of Croatia, repping Croatia, 33 years old. Adelaya is 14-1 overall. Fighting out England, repping England, 28 years old.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a mismatch as well, particularly just from the experience edge and the size edge. Philip's going to be much bigger than this man. Adelaya, low volume at times, not the best pure technical boxer, has historically had issues against the better, more technical boxers. Filip has more weapons than him. He's bigger. He works behind the jab better. Adele, if you're going to play him, it's got to be by knockout. I don't think the line is too justified because I think Filip Hrgović has a ceiling and we've kind of already been exposed to that ceiling, but I just don't think David's the one. Give me Filip Hrgović here by knockout. I'll say early to mid rounds.
Next fight on the card, and is currently constituted the co-main event of the evening for the WBA World Featherweight title. We have Nick Ball, the Wrecking Ball, going one-on-one with Sam Goodman. Nick Ball is 20-0-1 overall, so technically perfect. The champion is fighting out of England, repping England, 28 years old. Goodman, perfect, at 20-0. Fighting out of Australia, repping Australia. The challenger is 26 years old.
This is the most interesting fight of the boxing weekend, ladies and gentlemen. I thought this was the main event. My brother thought it was the main event.
This is the people's main event.
Nick Ball is a marauder. Dude walks forward, throws a lot of volume, hits hard, durable as hell. But this is a guy in Sam Goodman who I think the world might be getting a little exposed to. He's been a little inactive lately, but this is a guy who knows how to fight off his back foot. Good counter puncher, knows how to distance match. He's going to be bigger than Nick Ball. Everyone's bigger than Nick Ball. But there's a guy in Sam who knows how to be in and out when he's supposed to be. Exits responsibly, always has his hands up, knows how to technically box. I think he's the better technical boxer in this fight. If you're a Nick Ball, on the Nick Ball side at all, you have to hope he's just going to walk through him, give him body shots, eat his counter punches, and just land his own damage. I don't agree with the line with this fight, guys. Sam Goodman sitting at a plus 410. If you're going to bet Sam, you bet him by decision because he is not winning this fight, in my opinion, by knockout. Nick Ball is built like a fire hydrant. But if you're asking me, and me and my brother talked about this off the podcast, I think Nick Ball by decision is also sneaky here for the simple fact that I'm not sure he's going to be able to hit Sam effectively. As well as I think the money from Saudi Arabia is behind him, to be frank with you. I think Turkey and the promotion are behind him. The promotion is Queensberry, and he is a Queensberry fighter. I feel like Nick is going to have to really fight for this one, but if this is a close leaning fight, the judges are going to find a way to give it to Nick because they want to set up him in Inoue. And I hate talking like that, but this is boxing, and this is the reality of the game. So even if Sam does beat him, he probably still will lose on the scorecards. Sam would have to dominate him, in my opinion, for this to be decisive. If the decision prop for Sam is sitting at plus 700, 800, I think it's worth a sprinkle because I think this fight can be close. Split majority is another thing I'm going to be looking at because I think this fight can be close. But if you're asking me, I think Nick Ball by decision is probably the sneakiest bet of the weekend because people are probably expecting him to roll him, considering he's a minus 650 favorite. But I think people don't realize how good of a boxer Sam Goodman is. In addition, The only thing that worries me about that is that Sam has had a cut over his eye that took him out of the Inoue fight, as well as a few other ailments with that eye that have given him trouble with actually making it to the ring. So if Nick is able to connect on that eye and split him open, this fight could get cut short. But based on what I've seen, I think that this fight's going to go to decision more times than not. The overs are something I'm looking at. We'll see how we play this a little closer to fight time. Give me Nick Ball to win this fight via decision, aka a robbery, or in a close fight.
Next fight on the card, and is currently constituting the main event of the evening, we have Moses Itauma going one-on-one with the body snatcher, Dillian Whyte.
Great name.
Hard-ass nickname. Moses is perfect. 12-0, fighting out of England, rep in England, 20 years old. Dillian is 31-3 overall. Also fighting out of England, also rep in England, 37 years old.
There's a guy in Dillian Whyte who's 31-3, 37 years old, 6'4", going against a Moses Itauma who's 12-0, 20 years old at 6'6". Ladies and gentlemen, this is a little bit of a mismatch. I think Itauma is the real deal. Knows how to jab to the body, knows how to jab to the head, effectively double jabs, has a devastating left hand that he's able to walk a lot of his opponents into. The more technical boxer, he's going to be faster in there. I expect Dillian Whyte's corner to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Predator movie when they're screaming, "Dylan, Dylan," as he's running after the as he's running after the Predator. I just don't see a world where he's going to be able to outbox and get in on Itauma. I see Itauma stopping this fight early to mid rounds. I don't see this fight going late. Give me Itauma here by knockout, and that will be the official play of this podcast.
And that does it for our combat coverage. That does it for episode 111. It's all in the books. Now, my brother, please, without further ado, take us home.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Are you enjoying the visual portion of this podcast? If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. Episode 111 in the books. Tune in next week for UFC Shanghai. Actually looks like a relatively decent card in the main card from what I saw. Love you guys. Holla at you guys. Keep the subscription coming. Drop any comments for fights or things that you may want to talk about in the comments that we did not discuss on this podcast. Love you guys. Holla at you guys. See you next week for episode 112. Peaches and cream. Holla at you later.